The UK government and the European Union managed last week to agree on a new deal laying out the terms of Brexit. But even some 3.5 years after the referendum, it appears a lack of support from UK lawmakers to going to further delay Britain's departure from the European Union. Our Soo-young breaks down the issue.
An extension to the United Kingdom's exit from the European Union is looking more and more likely by the day, following the House of Commons vote on Saturday for an amendment requiring the government to ask Brussels to extend the October 31st deadline. Prime Minister Boris Johnson was forced to send a document with the request, though without a signature. This came as a blow to Johnson's efforts to ratify a new deal reached with the EU on the terms of Britain's departure. Critics say Johnson's plan is only slightly different from former PM Theresa May's proposals. It suggests that Northern Ireland retains the EU's single market rules on trade with its southern neighbour, and that goods from the rest of the UK will be subject to tariffs if there's a risk of them crossing the border. But the plan seems to have failed to convince lawmakers, least of all those from the Democratic Unionist Party, which refuses to accept different terms of departure for Northern Ireland.
The big problem with Boris Johnson's deal is that it does create a border down the Irish Sea, so the United Kingdom becomes less united, and it pushes Northern Ireland much closer to the European Union and perhaps in time to a reunification of the island of Ireland, where Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland become one country.
Hundreds of thousands of people marched in London over the weekend for a second referendum on leaving the EU, which would take around 22 weeks to organise if pursued.
At this stage, everything is possible. We are in absolutely uncharted parliamentary territory here. There are roughly half of the members of Parliament, about 300, 350, who have looked at what it means to leave the European Union without a deal and really don't like what they see. They've also seen the deal that the Prime Minister has brought back from Brussels, and really it doesn't suit anybody. There will be a delay that leaves everything on the table. We could still have a no-deal, very, very messy exit. The Prime Minister could still get his way, or this could even go back to the people either through a general election or, less likely, a people's vote second referendum.
In the meantime, Johnson is continuing to push for an on-time Brexit.
He still believes that this is the best he's going to get from Europe. He is probably right in that. And that because of the boredom in the nation, he will be able to force it through. He's going to make the meaningful vote now a legislative vote, which he hopes will be enough to win over enough of the waverers to give him victory. It probably won't be the 31st. It's not even enough time in Europe for them to conduct the appropriate scrutiny.
With just over 10 days left until the deadline, the government hopes to have a meaningful vote on Monday, but the motion could be shot down by the House Speaker. Meanwhile, EU Council President Donald Tusk said he had received the extension request and would consult other EU leaders on how to react. Soo-young, Arirang News.